Hello, everybody. My name is Rohit Jangid. I am Director of Sales at Recruiterflow. Thank you for taking the time on, on a Tuesday to join in with us. To ensure that we make the most of your time, we'll try and keep this as much as a two-way session. So please feel free to answer or ask any questions on the chat window. Our key objective today is to go over all of the product updates that we've released in the last quarter. As you already know, we come up with a plethora of updates each month, major and minor. We try to ensure that we share as much information via our emails and webinars so that the adoption amongst yourself, your team, anyone who probably might need these features is at the maximum. So the purpose of today is try to shed light on these features that we've had, what are the situations or scenarios where these features might be relevant, and the benefits that you or your team stand to attain by incorporating that. Joining me is Ria. She has this customer success team.
Hi, everyone.
If you have any questions along the way, our chat window is open. Right, without wasting too much of time, I'll move on to what we have in store for you today with a quick presentation, starting off with the product updates for Q1 2024 with Recruiterflow. The agenda for today would be the webinar goal and purpose, our promise, updates, some upcoming releases, and a 15-minute question and answer round in the end to clear up any questions, right? So like I said, the goal of the webinar is to ensure that all of your questions are answered, all the features that we've released, we cover all the possible use cases, and also figure out the benefits that each team, serving different regions, different industries, stand to gain. Our promise towards the end of this is a fantastic system for you to use to, enjoy looking at, and also help you save time, increase productivity. I will start with the update shortly, but just before that, I have one slide that I'd like to share and shed light upon. So software is a great combination between engineering and artistry, said by Bill Gates. We are good, we believe we're good at engineering. And what we believe is you are artists, right? Sourcers, recruiters, headhunters, agency owners, networkers. So with what we have built and what you can recommend, suggest, probably help us plan our thoughts in a certain direction, I think we can together build a great software. So we need you and your thoughts and your feedback as much as we have in our own minds. So please feel free to share as many questions and suggestions in the Q&A box. Starting out with the first feature that we have is the ability to edit or modify a manual touch point within a campaign. We've had the campaigns feature for a while now, but one of the most requested feature that we've had is the ability to personalize a touch point within the campaign. Now, how you can set up a manual touch point in a sequence is by heading over to the campaigns feature right here and adding a step, right? The idea is to personalize the first or any step within the campaign by clicking on manual email. I'm just going to pick up an example of a touch point I've already created. The first way you can set up a flow of the manual touch point is by setting up a description of that touch point, right? If I'm a headhunter and if I'd like to set up a personalized approach or outreach to specific candidates, I will set up a description, right, for me to follow as a guideline. So try to focus on the skill, industry experience, insert a personalized message is what I'm telling myself. Using that as context, I can add any placeholders or custom fields, which will personalize the name. So it could be, hey, Pat, or hey, Stacy, time for a career switch. Once this is set up, you can actually sit down and craft your email from this section right here. So unlike the past email templates, it's not going to be a template. It's something that you will create for specifically for Stacy or Adam, right? Something that I've created is I'm Rohit from Recruiterflow Search Partners. I noticed that you currently lead sales at candidate current company. What caught my eye was, and now I start personalizing, right? Their experience in their current company, maybe a common connection, perhaps a webinar that they gave or a post that caught your eye. Once you set up that personalized touch point, there are more chances of them responding to your outreach. Besides, you could also use ChatGPT to create an email copy for you. So if you just enter the skills, it'll create a decent email copy, which you can change the tone for. We also have this ability to change the tonality of the message. So it could be playful, witty, it could be assertive or friendly. Feel free to use it or even speak to it right here as a test. Right, this is an example of me speaking to Recruiterflow to create a sequence. You can set up the time and the day you like it to get triggered. So if it's day 0 and you set up the time, it'll get triggered today at, let's say, 1 p.m. EST hours. Before you're ready to send this out, I would recommend clicking on test email, personalizing the touch point using one test candidate that you have. In this case, I'm going to pick up Bill Gates, and hit test send email so that you can view the email from the recipient's end, right? That's how you set up a manual touch point in a sequence. The second you hit save, this draft is waiting to be triggered at the designated time and day. If you'd like, you can always head over to recipients, where you've got the list of all the candidates or contacts that you would like to reach out to. And you can edit this maybe 1-2 hours in a week in a flow, right? So if I go to Bill Gates, I can type out an email for Bill, talk about common connections. Once I've done, hit send or say send later. And then I could do it for, let's say, Louis or Jim, right? So we set up the step, define the recipients, trigger it from here, or we have the other option to go into Bill's account itself, get some context on the profile, and then personalize the email from the schedule tab under the email section right here. Right. What we've noticed is the ability to personalize a touch point in a sequence increases the chances of getting a response, right? It creates that common connection. So feel free to insert this manual touch point on the first touch point of your campaign or at a later stage to try and get more responses, keep that engagement high. I hope you like one of these features that we've added. Moving on to the next one, which is the ability to set up a schedule for your campaigns. We set up a schedule for campaigns, which simply is the rules that the campaign follows so that your campaign don't get triggered on specific days and times. The way you create this is head over to settings, campaign settings, create a new schedule. For demo purposes, I'm going to pick up an existing schedule that I've created. I'm going to name it public holidays in the US. Let's say our recipients are located in the US, and one of my team members might use my campaign schedule to set up their campaigns in. Okay? What I would do here is I would set up public holidays US, exclude the 1st of April, which is Easter Monday, Juneteenth, 19th of June, and the 4th of July, which is the Independence Day, so that my campaign does not get triggered on these days. I also have the ability to set up the day and the time I'd like these emails to get triggered in. So a window within the week when these emails will get triggered, right? I've set up a very basic sort of a schedule here. So between Monday and Friday, I'd like it to get triggered between 8:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., but Friday between 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. What this does is this creates the flexibility and the ability to not trigger emails on specific days and times, but also create a window where the chances of them reading these emails are the highest. Before we move on to the next feature, I'd just like to ask one question or have a quick poll. What do you think is the right time to send emails to candidates or contacts, right? So just a poll. I'd love for everyone to be a part of it and share what they think is the right time and day to send emails. 76% say the best time to send emails is between 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on weekends, strictly. Next is 10% that says the best time to send emails is between 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. on a Friday. Very fascinating. And 15% say that weekend between 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. is an ideal time, right? So weekdays 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Second is weekend 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. and Friday 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. A bit unconventional, but you know better. Fascinating stats there. All right. I read some sort of stats from HubSpot, which suggests the best time and days to send emails. So HubSpot says Tuesdays and Thursdays are the best days to send emails to get highest engagement. They say sending emails on middays can be effective as candidates take a break from work, check their email, and have time to respond. Thursdays and Fridays and Saturdays are the best days to send emails to elicit responses at 30%. I don't go by statistics. I go by, any polls done with live candidates and attendees. So I'll go by that. Moving on to the next feature that we have is the ability to set up multiple job templates. We have user bases from a single user to large agencies that are 30, 40, 50 headhunters, recruiters. One of the features that they've requested is the ability to set up multiple default job templates. Earlier, we had just one default job template where you can create one flow, one application form, one engagement type as a default. What we've done is we've added the ability to create multiple templates so that you don't have to recreate a job from scratch and then spend 10, 15, or 20 minutes creating that job. The way you would set it up is head over to settings, job settings, create a new template. I am creating this template based as one of our clients, right? That's our recurring client called Microsoft. Now I'm adding my company logo because I don't want to be doing this all over again. A particular font, an application form tied to that job, if you'd like to publish the job, and a flow of the interview pipeline, right? You must have seen this while setting up a job, the flow for a specific company that you like to follow whenever a new job is open. Once this is set up, and once you hit update, it's as easy as going on to the jobs page, clicking on a new job, and selecting from a default job template, Microsoft, right? I save that 15, 20 precious minutes by selecting a template basis, not just a client. You could also do it a role-specific template, right? Suppose you're hiring for SDRs. Set up a template that says SDR templates, and then it picks up the same skill set, application form, interview flow, and job boards, right? The use cases that we see here is if you've got the similar clients, if you've got similar sort of roles that you're hiring for, or if you've got similar engagement types. Let's assume you're doing headhunting or executive search. You could set up the engagement type as retained because the agency charges, let's say, a 15 or 17% retainer each time, right? So this will save you time. It'll save, let's say, the admins, the managers, the salespeople, the owners, without really having to set up a job all the way from scratch. Default job templates with multiple options to create. Moving on to the next one, the placement widget on the dashboard. We've seen a huge adoption of the dashboard and the lesser dependency on the reporting dashboard or analysis page once we've released the dashboard here. Now, to make it even a bit more interesting and a bit more engaging, what we've set up is the ability to create your own dashboards and add a placement widgets so you know what's happening in terms of hires or placements for this week, this month, last quarter. To create this, simply head over to Add a Card, click on Placements. I'm going to edit an already created placement widget right here. Before you go and select all of these bits, select the time frame for which you want to keep a track of the placements, right? I'm going to keep something for last week, or let's say this week. In my placement widget on the table, I'd like to see the image of the candidate that has been placed, the name, the job, the company. But before that, I'd like to see the date that have been hired, right? So I can play around the order of this table right here. I have the option to toggle a lot of other options on or off. Once this is done, my placement widget is added to my dashboard. So the first thing when I log in as a business owner, as a recruitment manager, is the ability to see what hires have we made, what's the date, what's the company, what's the status, and who the placement was made by, right? This will help you save time. Instead of heading over to the reporting dashboard, get to see your OKRs, your recruiters, KPIs, the first thing in the morning when you log in, right? I hope this is something that will help, any engineering managers here, anyone who's managing teams. I'll take up a question by Ilhan. Priya, would you like to take that?
Yeah, I'm answering that. I'm just checking and answering.
So this would be more specific to placements, right? We will be creating more dashboards and more options to create reports here. But for now, this would be specific to placements and interviews, which you can configure on the dashboard as opposed to doing it on the reports section here. Next is the ability to set up professional or personal emails when you're trying to look up someone using the Chrome extension email finder tool. Whenever you head to general settings, and when you scroll down all the way below here, you get to tell Recruiterflow when I'm looking up a candidate's contact details, do you want me to search for professional or personal emails? The way I would set it up is when I query a candidate's email, I would want a personal to be fetched. And if it's a contact, most likely I would want work, but people can choose any as well, right? Scroll down to email lookup settings, candidates, contacts, define it, and hit save. That's it. However, recently we've added a feature where you can bulk update or bulk look up certain actions, right? So for example, if I had a list of candidates for whom I have no emails, right? All the way from Kelly till Peter on this page, I have them in my database, but I don't have their email addresses. This is retrospectively. What I would do is I would head over to the advanced search, go on to add filter, look up email and say is not set, right? You could also add it within a campaign, within a nationality or region, within a specific industry. Once you add that criteria, select email is not set. Then you select everybody and you tag it with a specific tag, right? I'm going to say update fields, field, tag, and I'm going to write here, add a tag, no email set 1. Yeah, just so I remember this set once I complete the search. There you go. All right. Now I'm going to select everybody that doesn't have an email. That's the entire list right here, and click on look up email. What the system will do is pick up everybody, look for their personal or professional email addresses, depending on your preference, and will add it to their profile in just a couple of seconds. Right. As soon as they find it, they'll be removed from this list because technically their email has been found. So to go back to my list, I will go on to tags, go on to email, set no email set 1, and then I have my candidates right here, 8 of them. And if I log back into Recruiterflow on the candidate record, I'll be able to find their email address that has been enriched, right? All of these are test candidates here, so I will not be able to find their actual email addresses. But when you go into the record, you will find their emails have been enriched by the bulk email enrichment feature, which could be worked historically on your database, right? Do give this a try, but before that, ping us so we can add maybe 10, 20 credits to your account so that you can enrich your candidate or contacts email addresses. Bulk email finder. Are there any questions, Ria, that we can answer? Eric, we provide the email credits at $20 for 100 credits, so effectively about 20 cents. Trevor, I would say our strike rate of finding candidate email addresses are about 80%. There are better tools out there specific to geographies like Europe or industries. So I do recommend testing everything out, testing our system out also. It all depends on, where the person is located and what emails they're looking for. So there's no right answer to that. All right, moving on to the next feature that we have is the ability to bulk update fields. Most of our user base have typically candidates ranging from 5 or 10,000 upwards of maybe, sometimes 1 million. And either managing this candidate database becomes a real hassle when you like to bulk update certain things. Let's say, for example, I as a recruiter or a headhunter have spoken to 25 candidates within a particular search or a job and have noted down their expected compensation or the source, right? I've found the source of the candidates from a third-party agency, and or I have written expected compensation on their custom field here, right? So for example, languages as an example, or compensation could be 121, okay? Now I've made the placement for the job under which all of these candidates are in, right? So I'd like to rewrite the expected compensation because I'm going to be interviewing them maybe next year, and I don't want past data to show up. So the way I overwrite or reset custom fields or bulk update fields is by going on to the candidate record, clicking on update fields. And here we've added most of the system fields and custom fields, which you can bulk update, right? So in this case, I would say expected compensation is what I would like to remove values for for all of those 25 candidates. The second I put 25 to confirm, I am not a bot and I like this thing to run. Now the 25 candidates for whom the expected compensation or custom field skills or desired city has been entered before will now be reset. Now, why does this feature really benefit users is the ability to reset certain things, compensation, skills, source, to add certain skills. Maybe in the middle of the year, you'd like to change the way you store data, fields, maybe nomenclature when it comes to skill set or skill categorization. So if you've made a change in the middle of the year and you'd like to go back to your database and make changes throughout, select everybody, update fields, and not just remove them, right? But you could also replace them, just like how you do in Excel with find and replace. That can be updated very easily, right? So it's extremely robust in the things that you can do. You can add, for example, a few things. You can edit a couple of elements, and you can also reset the entire custom fields or system fields. So extremely powerful. I do not recommend doing this for active candidates. Try this with older candidates who you've not engaged with. Maybe one of the things that you could do is you could say last engaged with more than 365 days, and try this out with this set, which is, not active, right? Bulk update fields from advanced search or on the candidates page. Wonderful. Days in stage reports, right? This is going to be the last feature that we have, and then we're going to have a 10-15 minute question answer round. So please feel free to stick around. The days in stage report can be found under the reports dashboard. Once we head over to the reports and analytics dashboard, we head over to this new report called days in stage, right? First of all, we would have more data to accurately get to know certain information and insights on the number of days a candidate is or candidates are, depending on clients or recruiters or companies. So increase the date range from this week to, let's say, this year or last year. And then you can group it by job, right? So by job, it shows you how many candidates have spent an average in how many stages. If you do it by company, you can actually review where the gaps are, right? Which company or hiring managers are taking how long to respond to candidates or to give their feedback on, right? So this is one of the best filters that you could add on this report, is by reviewing how long it takes for a candidate, or how long does the candidate stay in a particular stage for by company, right? The gaps that we see here that can be filled is, does it take too long for your recruiters to submit a candidate? Maybe they're in the source stage for 6 days. There's a problem internally that you could solve. Maybe in the client submission or screen stage, they've been there for more than a week. Then maybe it's a problem with the hiring managers, or communication lines are not too clear. So this would give you really good insights upon what's taking so long for candidates to move across the pipeline in the stages that you have. And of course, if you'd like to review it by recruiter, you can notice, a very specific trend. Which are the recruiters that move really fast, right? Typically, it would be about 3 or 4 days in the stage for a really good recruiter. And when, recruiters who are probably busy take more than 4 or 5 days for a candidate to move along the different stages. So days in stage report by company, by recruiter, would be really good analytics to review upon. That's pretty much it with the major updates that we have. Rest assured, if you have anything else, cs@recruiterflow.com or rohit@recruiterflow.com, feel free to write in. Our idea, our aim is to help your recruiters, your team, get the best out of Recruiterflow. So please keep those questions and queries coming in. Thank you so much for joining in.